So this is the first time we've ever had someone in two roles in the same show, our music director and a storyteller. Rip is going to tell us how he got here, maybe including a mistake or two along the way. Rip Jackson.
Good evening. Wow. I just blown away by Don's introduction, which is what a powerful evening to talk about some important stuff. But I'm also blown away when I see young people really blooming. It's just so amazing. So, I actually have two smaller mistakes and one very large mistake. And I'm kind of glad that this is not being live streamed so that my family's not listening. Because I'm going to try to be very honest here. I want to take you back to 1979. I was a freshman in high school, and I went to a performing arts high school called Northside School for the Performing Arts. I had an amazing director named William Dinsmore, Jr., and he could tell that I was a perfectionist, and honestly, a very tortured perfectionist. And I was trying to be really good at a bunch of different things at one time, and having good grades and practicing the piano and all various things in the arts. And I went to him and said, you know, do people ever make a living in the arts? He was like, yeah, sometimes. And you know, he said, don't worry about it. You're a freshman in high school. And I'm like, well, but I should be thinking about what school I should go to, and you know, shouldn't I be, you know? And he was like, if you just allow the universe, he was like New Age before the word was New Age. He was like, the universe will provide for you. It will tell you the right direction to go into. I did not listen to him. I was one of the only male dancers in my high school. There was a bunch of amazing ballerinas, but I was the only male dancer. Well, there was like 3 or 4 of us. So I got a lot of lead roles, and pretty quickly realized that dance was what I was going to do for my life. I was going to be a professional ballet dancer, and I put my heart and soul into it. I took dance in school, and after school, I took my homework with me and went to this dance studio called Lee Harper Dancers. She was had been in the Alvin Ailey Dance Company in New York City, and I studied in the afternoon, and I took dance. I got home at 10 o'clock at night. I did this every day for almost the whole 4 years I was in high school. I did play piano a little bit, mainly for fun more than anything. Here's the first sort of minor mistake, but it's an important one. It really changed the direction of my life, and while at the time it was horrifying for me, now I have nothing but gratitude about it. The first mistake is that in my junior year of high school, I was doing a professional dance performance in the style of jazz, which is not as popular now as it used to be then. And I did not warm up before we had to go on stage and do very, very hard choreography. And I pushed my knee in a situation that was like really unnatural, and I really tore a bunch of ligaments, and I fell on the ground and could not get back up at first. But I did make myself get back up and dance, even though I could barely walk. I was like trying to adjust the choreography, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, ended up in the hospital, couldn't walk for about, I tend to exaggerate a little bit, let me just try to be honest. Maybe for a month and a half I couldn't walk. It felt like a year, but it was a long enough time that it was horrifying. And the next year I came back to school as a senior. I could dance, but if you're a male ballet dancer, you have to do a lot of tall, high jumping. That's a part of what you have to be able to do. I could no longer do that. And I realized that mistake caused me that possibility of going in that career. I began focusing on my academics more. I'm like, all right, I can't be in the arts. Didn't occur to me about piano, by the way. But I was like, I can't be in the arts, so all right, I'm pretty good at math and science, so I'll go ahead and go to technical school or something. So I ended up going to Georgia Tech, which is, some of you probably know about it. It's a really good school for science and math and stuff. And I absolutely loved math and science, but not as much as I loved music. And I went to Georgia Tech. I lasted not even a semester, whatever that other word is. Anyway, quarter, that's right, 1 quarter. It was a terrible mistake. It was a horrible mistake. And I spent the whole quarter not studying and practicing the piano. I realized that I could not get music out of my system. Okay, that was mistake number 2. Pretty bad. Well, I mean, to me it felt horrible that I had wasted all that time. At any rate, so then I went ahead and got a music degree, undergraduate, then I got my master's, and then I went to Case Western Reserve and began working on my doctorate. I had it all planned out. I was going to be an academic. I was going to teach music history and conduct the orchestra in the college, become tenure-tracked, publish. I was very interested in medieval music, so I was very passionate about that. And I had my life all planned out for me. At the same time, I had to make a little bit of money to pay for rent and stuff in Cleveland, so I took a job at a Presbyterian church half-time. I was originally just supposed to do just the choir on Sunday mornings and rehearse on Wednesday nights. Well, I developed a children's choir, a high school choir, started doing musicals in the summer. It just kind of really expanded, and before I could control myself, I started to neglect my doctoral studies and focus on this church. At the time, it felt like a terrible, terrible mistake. But I just couldn't stop myself. Whatever I do, where I feel the most passion, that's where I put my energy. And at any rate, to make the story not too long, because I know I only get 6 minutes, I made the decision in 2000 to look for a full-time job in churches and not graduate from my doctorate. I had everything done, and I had all the research done on my dissertation, but I didn't write it out. Instead, I found this job in Vermont. I'd always wanted to live in a beautiful, natural place, and so I took a job full-time in Vermont. And while I was excited about the job in Vermont, I was terribly ashamed of not having a doctorate, and that people would always say, "Oh, you went to Case Western Reserve, and what's your doctorate in?" And I always have to go, "I'm all but dissertation," you know. So, worse than that, I feel like I let down my family. My grandmother was so proud of me. Nothing would have made her happy than for me to be Dr. Jackson. And so I think I spent probably a good decade ashamed of that and just kind of holding that somewhere near the surface, and it just felt uneasy. I don't feel that way anymore. I just hearing the kids sing "Here Comes the Sun" and seeing them smile and flourish, and just feeling like I felt like I found my true calling only because I made these mistakes. They really taught me important lessons, and I'm actually very grateful for all these mistakes. And I have to say that William Densmore, he was right. The universe did bring me what I needed. Thank you.